And Utah has Gavin Peterson as their head coach in his second season. They made their way to the tournament a season ago, but this is a very different Utah team this year, Elaine.
It sure is. We're going to see here soon just how different, but it's a rebuild, it is a reload, and we're going to have a lot more to say about that.
Yeah, we do. We'll break it down for you in a little bit. There are the officiating crew. Nicole Murray, that's Tiffany Bird Nelson there, and then Erica Parker, our trio on the floor today. This is really both teams, I think, marking this on their calendars as looking forward to this matchup to kind of see where they are. As working it inside. Little lefty, baby hook, no good. Follows her shot, banks it up good. That's Yulia Grabovskaya, the transfer from Michigan. One of two transfers to this team. Boy, does she give a presence in there, Elaine.
Yes, that is already a start that we don't want to see in terms of offensive rebounding for the Huskies is just unbelievable. And they got the first miss, and she's right there over the top to score anyway.
Yeah, she's part of the reason those offensive rebounding numbers are up. That's an aggressive move. One in the end, one was Reese Ross, but she'll take it.
Good aggressive move to start the game. They're going to need to do that, and they're going to need to do it consistently, because I'm assuming that Washington, of course, understands the three-point threat that Utah is, and they're going to have to do a good job of playing both outside and in.
Good cut, moving without the ball. Avery Howell for Washington. 15 on the shot clock, and it'll be an inbound for the Huskies. There's Sellers, Sammy Miller talking about her. In our open, the junior from Anchorage, Alaska. They list her at 5'7", probably one of those players that was always told, oh, you're a little too short to do this or that. Wow, has she proven everybody wrong.
Just a great high side defensive position. Comes up with the steal, that's great for Howell.
Washington pushing pace, and the defense for Utah are gonna have to get back a little quicker.
I think we're gonna see that the Huskies have made a new commitment to that phase of their offensive attack. They have already averaged 16 points a game in offensive transition, and it's gonna come either from steals like that or great defense, checkouts, and boxes and rebounds after that.
Score 2-2, 8:30 remaining this first quarter. Howe using the screen to get a little bit of an open look, but just short, and now Utah will push. Both of these teams capable and would love to keep that pace up if they can. White on the left side, no good. There's Ross trying to clean it up. Just missing that opportunity.
Her presence on the boards at both ends has been really important for Utah, and she kind of gets lost in the shuffle only because she doesn't have big numbers on offense, but you're going to see a lot of play from her tonight that's going to make a difference in this game.
You're right, a perfect example. 1 point in their last game, but 11 rebounds. She's a hustle player. She's got 4 assists as well. I'm assuming as a former coach, she's the kind of player that you would have loved to have recruited. There's a travel call there on...
You've got to have that kind of a player. Travel inside, right?
Yep.
I liked the start from Evans as far as bodying up on that catch. She's going to need to do that consistently, show a physical game, show a physical presence.
Yeah, she's certainly going to have to against a 6'5" senior on the other side. Extended defense and pressure being brought out by the Huskies. Oh, good cut from Wilkie, and getting it back. Ross with the shot clock winding down. Give it up, and she sticks it.
That's a nice offensive possession for the Utes to be able to get a 3 off, wide open, and bury it.
Sellers trying to lose the D on the drive. Can't connect, and now Utah will look ahead. Brooke Walker, the sophomore and now point guard for this team. How impressed are you that this player said, well, we're losing a lot of point guard from the season ago. I think I'll become the point guard this year.
That is really a commitment to the team, because that's got to be the toughest kind of change in anybody's game at this level, is to try to become a point guard in the Big 12. So the fact that she took that challenge on, and as well as she has done, is going to go a long way towards what happens in the future for this team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That is a confident move. There's Gavin Peterson, and has complete faith. His team on a 7-0 run. And they've got the 5-point lead. And there's a takeaway, though. Good topside D by Tegan Brown.
Really nice switch. And they switch to deny. And the Utes end up passing it right into that defender's hand.
Washington brings in Bryn McGoy, the 6'3" freshman, 21 in purple. She's a talented young recruit. First 5-star recruit for Tina Langley and the Huskies. Oh, that's just too easy for Wilkie. She was completely squared up on that one.
Well, I'm going to repeat that she has the quickest, best three-point shot in the country. And I think what you're going to see if you watch and the rest of the game goes on, she catches the ball and it is immediately in her shooting pocket and it does not move until the shot goes up and is released.
Savia Sellers has a 3 of her own on the other end, and that stops a 10-0 Utah run as that one won't go on the other side for Wilkie.
That's a great answer. Great answer by the Huskies. Somebody hits that 3 on you, if you can come right back down and neutralize it like that.
Yeah, try to quiet the crowd down, try to get some momentum back as that one won't go for McGoy. Solid D by Kyra Evans on the block for Utah. Utah picked 8th in the preseason in the Big 12 as Reese almost loses it there. I think a lot of question marks about this team. I think there's a lot of talent. It's a matter of will they gel, will they bring it together? They might fly under the radar for a little bit.
Absolutely true. There's just a lot of questions that are going to be answered throughout the course of the season. That's why this game is so critical for them, because this is going to give them a new level of assessment, and that's just going to help you get better.
Well, it certainly is. Washington pushing the tempo, though. A bucket by Evans at one end, and then Bryn McGoy for the Huskies right there.
Well, a perfect example of that commitment that they're making to that transition game. They get that on the make, and just in and out.
Exactly what Tina Langley told us. She said, we want to be great in transition. We want to play fast, but that's an area that they're still working on, even though they've got a fairly veteran squad back. As Lonnie Wright gets fouled behind the arc, McGoy going to pick up the personal. And Utah.
Coach Peterson has not cried any tears over this and has not used the word rebuild or reload, but we really need to be fair to him and his program. This is as big as it gets. They are starting over regardless of the kids that are back because they won at the highest levels with all those numbers gone. So I think they accept the challenge, and so far good competition here.
Yep, they sure have. And he brought in a really impressive group. And you could say the same for Tina Langley on the other side. We just have signing days going on for everybody, and we've been seeing all the young talent that's getting ready to come in again a year to come. But speaking of young talent, L.A. Sneed, number 2 in black, has checked into the game. She's one of the new additions this year as Washington's going to go to the free throw line.
At the point, L.A. does have the experience at a high level coming into the U. At the same time, she is a freshman, and it has taken some time to get her sort of accepting the command that she needs to have out on the floor. But her presence is, you can feel it happening. I think she has said as much. So all of those things are going to help LA make this jump sooner than later.
Sellers made the first, misses the second, long rebound. It ends up in her hands. Into the game for the first time, Evelina Otto, number 6 in black, as well, another freshman for the Utes. There's the lefty, Chloe Briggs, shot no good, and a rebound down to Otto. Both sides bringing some fresh legs on. Sienna Harvey, the freshman out of Australia, 35 in purple for Washington. And losing Reese Ross underneath. That's just great movement without the ball by Ross.
She's done a nice job of sealing. Both teams, it looks like we're going to see a lot of switching. Those will create mismatches. It doesn't really matter to either one of those teams. I think they play good team defense and they know how to cover that. In that case, just a good action that ended up in the high-low over the top to Reese.
Reese Ross, the junior out of Rapid City, South Dakota. Top recruit out of the state of South Dakota back in 2023. The mark on that one. She's one of those players that got good playing time. She played every single game last year, about 19 minutes a game. Again, wasn't a starter, but her experience on the floor, now she's elevating it this year. That's not always easy to do, to just come in and say, okay, now I have to take on a bigger role than what I had.
She's a stat stuffer is what I would call her, meaning she has not scored a lot for them, But you look at the score box after these games are over, and she's leading you in all the important categories of trying to win games, which are rebounds and assists, loose balls. So she's a critical piece of what's going to happen here for the Utah squad.
Certainly is. That's Bryn McGoy on the drive. Good body control and composure to finish that one. The 6'3" freshman coming in.
McGoy has a nice game. I watched her play, and I am so impressed by her future.
And an offensive foul call on Ross. Nice play by Briggs to stand her ground and take some contact.
She just has great positioning. She takes the right-hand dribble on, gets there first, and that's a charge.
Devin Coppinger's checked in for the Huskies. Number 3 in purple, sophomore from Washington. There's the handoff to Harvey, and that's that fast pace. Good D, though, the jump ball. And it's going to go the other direction.
That's a tough spot to have to help from. I mean, that's a full speed cut off the post catch, and Reese takes care of that gap really well and is able to reach in and get the hand on the ball in the first place. Gets the offensive player off balance, and that's why they end up with that travel call.
Size advantage, but Sneed reading where the D was, and she lost her just enough to get the shot to go.
I'm not sure I'd want to take McGoy on, but she sure did, and finished beautifully.
I'm with you on that. Bucket for Sneed, her first points of the game. Utah, 5 of the last 7 buckets, and now a turnover forced. 4th turn of the game for Washington with 2.5 left, first quarter. Been a fairly fast pace. Again, both teams, that's what they want to do. Doesn't mean they're all really capable of doing it this time of year. As Sneed with the air ball. Coppinger gives it back up top to Briggs. 5 seniors on this Washington team with 4 freshmen. It's a good mix of experience and youth. A little finger roll just short from McGoy, but another long rebound and another chance.
Offensive boards for the Huskies are such a strength of theirs. This is going to be a critical piece of this game, is whether or not Utah can keep them under their large average rebound that they have at this point in the season. So that gave them the second opportunity in that possession, and sure enough, they take advantage of that.
Sienna Harvey with the bucket, her first points of the game, the freshman out of Victoria, Australia. But yeah, offensive rebounding for Washington's been big, and how about an and one on the inside? That's Otto with the hoop.
Otto is so strong, and you saw her just holding the defender off, sealing her, and is able to keep her position because of her strength. And when that happens, she gets herself a nice seal to a layup. She also ends up with a little bit smaller defender in a switch situation. So when you can find those mismatches, there's always an advantage one way or the other, and Otto had that advantage in that particular case.
Freshman from Latvia, but made her way to the U.S. She played in the Denver area her senior year at Denver East High School and was kind of under the radar. Was kind of a late recruit, but what a get for Gavin Peterson and the Utes. Grabowskaia back in, going right at her. Lefty layup, no good. Good job by Otto holding her ground there.
It's a nice physical defensive plan in the post. It's held up so far.
Minute left, first quarter. And an 8-point lead for the Utes, but then a takeaway. Good hands by Tegan Brown, the senior out of Sacramento, defense to offense.
That is the easiest way to score. Alone at the rim.
And defense was a problem last year for Washington. Coach Tina Langley talked about that with us a little bit. She said, we were definitely behind. They had to make some changes. That was a big key to what they do on the offensive end.
Well, it's going to be interesting as we see this game go on. I'd like to kind of look into what they're doing systemically, defensively, that's really giving them the kind of support that they want to have to be able to get out and run offensively.
First quarter winding down, 7-second differential, left lane opened up, and there's the finish. Hannah Steins, the senior, with the bucket.
a great take and just really not a good job defensively by the Utes in terms of that backside, getting to position to be able to close off those drives from the backside.
Her first bucket, that one off the mark for Grace Foster, who's checked in, and that one off to the left, but a nice push at the end of the quarter for the Huskies.
Which is it's good news for Utah, because the Huskies are so strong on the offensive boards. They have more offensive boards in 2 games than Utah has in 3 games.
Yeah.
So that's going to go a long ways to help Utah if they can maintain that kind of control on the boards.
Offensive rebounding, just such an effort play, and it's so crucial. Quick pass out to Lonnie White in the corner. She gets knocked down once again behind the arc. They are really hedging out on her.
Well, they understand that they better get a hand up, and actually with Utah, you need more than a hand up.
Yeah.
I think they're fairly close to committing to flybys as compared to just staying in the stance, and so far those flybys well, they've given up 2 fouls on 3-point shots.
They sure have. First foul on Sellers as Lonnie White makes her way back to the free throw line. The senior from Irvine, California, transferred back to Utah after playing 2 seasons here for the Utes. Went to Virginia Tech a season ago and had 31 starts at Virginia Tech, double-figure scoring. She's come back as a different kind of leader, really much more confident, and a very different role for her now than she had a couple seasons ago.
She understood that once Gianna Neepkins made that decision to transfer, that she had a chance to come in and start and play a lot of minutes, and that was, that's a pull, and she's really excited about the opportunity that she has to really be a significant addition to this team.
Well, she was always a big fan favorite here also, so I think a lot of the fans really happy to see Lonnie back wearing a Utes uniform. Lonnie getting it done from the free throw line. 5 of 6 from the stripe, all 5 of her points from there. Yabovskaya will give it back out. Sellers needing a screen as the shot clock down to 5. Sellers gets it tipped away from behind. That was White starting it, but Sellers not giving up on it, and it's a jump ball.
That's another great defensive stab at the ball on the dribble. That's playing some gap control on the strong side. So you'll see it was Lonnie White who actually had a player in the corner who, is in the gap enough to do 2 things.
Yeah.
She could get back to the corner, she can give help on that dribble drive, and that turns the ball over.
And great recognition by her to be able to do just that. White guarded by Sellers. Grace Foster into the game, the sophomore from Perth, Australia. White on the drive. She's going to go back to the free throw line. Doesn't matter how you get the points as long as you get it done.
They are supposed to be the easiest. They're not defended.
That's true.
You wonder sometimes, but Lonnie put her first 2 or 3. Did she get all 3 on her foul the first time? I'm not remembering, but there's just an athletic move to the rim. And again, you put pressure on them both at the basket and from the 3-point range. And that's a difficult challenge for any defense to handle both spaces.
Yeah, if you have options both inside and out, it makes the defense have to make a decision and several decisions.
Well, and there's really no team that I know of yet that is so committed to the 3 that Utah is.
Yeah, averaging just under 12 threes per game. And I know it's early in the season, but that's definitely been their MO as of late. As Sellers, aggressive drive for the junior. She's averaging 20 points per game. They come in 2-0, and the Utes 3-0 on the season. And really feeling good about what they're going to do in their Big Ten season this year as well, bringing back so much experience. They are without Ella Dean. We have not mentioned the senior was a leading scorer for this team last year. She is day-to-day. She's out with an injury, hoping to get her back. But if you're going to have one, now's the time. You want her to be healthy later on.
Right.
Broken down play. Sellers comes up with it, lays it up good. Sellers starting to heat up.
Well, taking great advantage of the turnover.
Defense creating some offense for them. And there's a little turnaround on the baseline for Jelmstad, who's checked in. Another freshman for the Utes.
I do, because it's going to be a sort of systemic defensive thing.
Oh, now an outside jumper going. Washington right back in it. The 3 ball for Sellers. Sellers leading everybody, 11 points in this first half. but the layup good for Walker.
There is a pace to this game that's undeniable.
It sure is. Huskies have hit 3 of their last 3 shots. Layups, outside shots, they're starting to mix it up more. McGoy, she'll spot it up off the back of the iron.
She can shoot that, but I think that if I had to make a choice, I'd rather see her doing that than some of the game that she has around that rim and in the paint.
Yeah, you're right. She was able to get out there in high school, but she yet to take a 3 this season so far. That was her first. Drive by Foster, no good. Steins makes another push. Looking for some help. Gives it back up to McGoy. Spins around. Well off on that one.
I think both teams are a little bit weary right now.
Yeah.
We've got some kids taking breaks, so we'll see if there's very many. I do see 4 subs at the bench. So
yeah, you said it. This pace has been fast, which is what they want, but it's early in the season. I don't know if everybody's quite to the conference season conditioning yet as far as transition goes.
There's some hands-on knees out there.
Yep.
Both ways. It's a very, very fast pace.
And there you go. Taking advantage. Hannah Steins, no help D there.
Right. The Utes have not shown well on a couple defensive possessions here as far as being able to attack penetration from the backside. Maybe fatigue. Let's hope just fatigue.
Huskies back within 4. Evans curls it up, lays it up good.
McGoy had nice pressure up top. She did the right thing. Evans is just learning to really use all of her game and in-state talent, good enough to play at this level, and that they're interested in being at your university.
Well, no doubt. Riley Little, Peyton Jones, both 4-star recruits. Malika Satuala, her sister, a senior on the volleyball team, and fun to be able to see her playing here as well, keeping it in the family. He's out of the timeout, the skip across. Shot from Howe, just a little bit short, and rebound down to White. We should also mention on the other side for Washington, Tina Langley is very excited. They signed a player that she said is going to be an immediate impact, and that's Amaya Garcia. Elaine, they call her Sunshine. That's already got to mean something right there. But 3-level scorer, they're really excited about her.
Well, she must be nice to be around then.
Exactly.
That's always good.
Yep. So she is number 46 in the ESPN Top 100. And so nice get for Tina Langley, who does have 5 seniors on this team. And we want to mention also, those 5 seniors, they all came back. They were her first recruit class, and they've all stuck with her. And she said she could not be more proud of them and could not thank them enough for being a part of her program. That's just unheard of these days.
It is unheard of, and it's really those great similarities in these 2 programs, both having exactly that same situation happen for them. That was Utah's strength from last year, and it is going to be the Huskies' strength from this year.
You're right. Tina Langley said, she loves this style, the system, the kind of players that Utah gets. And you're right. I think very, very similar programs in that regard. Kick out to Howe. That one just missing. She just needs to get one to go. The transfer from USC. There's a scrappy play there, and they're going to wave it off, though. They'll say there was a foul instead. I want to bring Sammy Miller back in. Sammy, a little bit more about Tina Langley.
Win games, and they don't care how or who does it. They want to feed the hot hand. So if Savia is having herself a day, they want Savia to have the ball. So being that selfless unit is going to be key, especially when they head into Big Ten play.
Oh, you're right, Sammy. Unselfish play. I mean, that is an absolute must for a Tina Langley team, man. White thought she got pushed. They're going to call the travel. It'll stay with the Huskies instead.
Washington just puts so much pressure on you on the offensive glass. They are there in number, and it's just not easy to pull it down clean, as Lonnie just found out, when you still have 2 or 3 of the Huskies around you in position for offensive boards.
I think they've let them play for the most part. It's been fairly physical. It's been fast, but not a lot of whistles, and I think that's a plus for both sides. As there's another takeaway. A turnover forced, points off turnover. Sellers adds to her total. She's got 15.
It really is a bugaboo for the Utes in terms of the number of turnovers. They average 20 a game, which is not a happy statistic.
No.
And honestly, a key for this game, I think, is just a key whether or not they can keep that number low enough to save those possessions to still have the opportunities to run offense.
Well, you've got to credit Washington. They kicked it up a notch. Oh, some contact there and a whistle. They play on as Washington pushes it up ahead. That one around and won't go for Steins. But 3 turnovers for Utah in the last 2:20. Not the ratio combo you want to see. And again, credit to the Huskies, though. They've really kicked it up after they came out of the timeout.
It's been a good aggressive game, and the officials have, they've been fair.
I appreciate you saying that, Elaine Elliott, as a former coach. I don't know how many times you said it as a coach.
Because they were never fair when I was coaching.
That's right, but now they've cleaned it up.
Yeah, they're way better now.
They were, again, leading the conference in so many offensive categories, but it was the defense that really wasn't helping them out. And so Tina Langley said, look, in the summer, we had to break it down as a staff.
They've gone small defensively now. You don't see either one of their 2 big centers on the court. They're going to switch everything, which allows them to just stay in better pressure positions as far as the 3-point area. They don't necessarily have to bring 2-to-1 as much.
Yeah, great point.
Great find. Great
Ross
find.
Double team. Wilkie let her know she was open on the other side, and Utah, a good timeout and regroup. Yeah, the pace has definitely quickened at both ends. Oh, beautiful. Up and under, good. Hannah Steins with the finish.
Well, Utah finds themselves in the mismatch position without any pre-offense happening. Kyra Evans has to handle one of those nice, young, long, lean, athletic wings who have just kind of the same game as the post do.
You're right.
And they show that.
But Tegan Brown, it was that last time, as Sellers says, yeah, I'll take the and one.
I don't know how she got through all those hands, and the fouls still makes the 2. Driving penetration, she's just so good. She can really take a game over.
Yep. She is an energy player. She's so strong, so tough. She's not afraid to take it in at the bigs. And she makes her way back to the free throw line. That foul was on Wilkie, her first, and the 3-point play for Sellers. She's got 18 first-half points.
I think the Huskies have exposed a little bit of the team defensive work that maybe the younger players that on Utah need to have. You've got to provide help.
Oh, wow.
You have to provide help against Sellers at the rim, in the paint, before she gets to the rim.
Briggs going to get called for the personal, trying to draw the charge. Drew one earlier, but this time it goes against her.
Still really good positioning. I'm sure that if I was coaching her in that moment, I'd have thought that was a bad call. But should have been a charge for them. But, those are the toughest calls officials have to make.
Yeah.
I just think that if you're a good position defender, you're going to get about 80% of those because you truly are there first.
Yeah, just fundamentals, basic of the defensive end, as that one won't go for Ross. Washington, 3 of their last 3, and missing on that one, though. And there they are, all over the offensive boards again.
Right. I've seen 2 plays, one by LA and one by Avery right there, where I think the difference, why that's a jump ball instead of a nice clean rebound, is just a matter of aggressiveness, sort of just freshman aggressiveness compared to seasoned aggressiveness, and they're going to have to make that extra jump against a team like Washington.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Those are the things I think both coaches telling us we're teams that are figuring ourselves out still. There's a lot of new pieces, and so still trying to figure things out this early on.
Absolutely. I think that's why this is such a good team for both programs. No matter the end, I think they're going to leave this game, especially seeing how competitive it is, and learn a lot about their teams.
Hey, coming up at halftime, international players add another level to the game, but Evelina Otto surprised her team with a movie credit to her own. We're going to take a look at the premiere, plus Sammy will also catch us up on both head coaches for their thoughts on this first half, and not to mention stats, highlights, all that coming up at halftime. Yeah, Otto's a really interesting story. Had to miss a game to go be a part of the movie premiere that she was in
right.
in Latvia. It's pretty special.
Well, it's probably it's pretty special as a college kid to kind of have such an experience, and to go back into the history of her country's women's basketball must have been really enlightening, and I would assume probably something that's just going to stick with with Otto for a long time.
Yeah, sort of like a league of their own in a basketball version is what I've been told.
It's true.
Sounds good. Well, the Huskies kicked up the fast break, 11-0 fast break points for them. And Utah, a scoring drought, 1 for their last 7, has led to Washington in this 3-point lead. That one won't go for Sellers. Another chance, though, for the Utes before halftime is with.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
And team, she works on unity, growth, being a humble player, but she's a competitive, fiery player, former player as well. Super kind and generous, but also loves to win.
She said one interesting thing, that she could tell her team the truth, and they had the maturity to own it. That goes a long ways.
Yeah, you're right about that. As the third quarter underway, and Utah gets the first points, much needed, as they had gone on a scoreless drought of over 3 minutes to finish things off before White hit that buzzer beater shot. And there's that beautiful soft touch from Sellers.
Sellers just answered. You're right, Utah goes 1 for 7 to finish the second quarter. You know, the first 3 games of the season for Utah, they've been much better offensively in the second half. So it's going to be interesting if their shooting lights up a little bit and if those numbers show to be true for this game.
Well, and does that make sense when you've got a little bit of a younger team? It takes you maybe a half to kind of feel things out and figure out what the other team's going to bring.
It does. There's always more nerves with young kids. There's also just understanding the game and making adjustments. Hard to do on the fly when you're young.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do think that's a big piece of it. And I think shooters can really just get comfortable when they take a deep breath sometimes. And that half sometimes gives them the time to do that.
Euro step from Grabowskaia, just missing, and she'll take a seat as McGoy will come back in. They give her the personal. That's her 3rd foul, so she's going to have to sit and probably watch for a while.
I do like the Huskies really have a defensive system that supports their interest in staying between people, matchups, being in defensive position for rebounds so that they can get misses, not give up boards, and run. So it's been interesting to kind of see that in action today.
You're right. They've had a lot of fast break opportunities, and those hands are up in the passing lanes. We just saw the takeaway there, but then they hand it right back at the other end.
They had a great match cut right there off of a miscommunication, and the post just missed the pass.
Brooke Walker brings it up, sophomore from Andover, Kansas. Kind of had to rewire her basketball brain after deciding, instead of just being a shooting guard, I'm going to be the point guard this year for the team. Offensive rebound, Evans, she gets fouled, trying to get put back.
That's only the 2nd offensive rebound that the Utes have for the game, so you can see why that could be a real turning point in the second half if they can get their presence known and get to the free throw line as well.
Evans with 3 boards, 6 points, and I'm glad to have her back this year. She had to miss last season after transferring in from Michigan, out with the ankle, had to have ankle surgery. They're really happy to have her back. Junior out of Newcastle, Australia. Gives them some size. She's got a bit of a finesse game, though, too. She's not just a post.
She's someone who, quite honestly, can make a dagger 3 happen late in the game or sometime in the second half when teams decide they don't have to defend her as a post outside. And I've seen that. She's capable of it and really makes her a versatile big player for Utah.
Avery Howe on the drive. Avery 0 for 3 behind the arc in the first half. This time decides to drive it in. I mean, sometimes the shot not going, just get a bucket. Maybe that'll help you relax and get going.
Well, the success that the Huskies are finding offensively is attacking. It's not shooting from the perimeter. And the defensive adjustment that the Utes have to make is to do a better job of flooding the paint and really attacking the penetration before they're getting to the rim so that if there is contact, it's not as a shooter. Force Washington into more of a perimeter game in the half court.
Both free throws good for Howe, her first points of the game. The sophomore from Boise, Idaho, the transfer from USC a season ago. She had 3 starts with the Trojans, primarily off the bench, but 59 made threes on the season as well. And there again, the defense from Stein leads to offense from Sellers. Stein's been good defensively.
You know, they're doing a little bit more blowing up the handoffs and things than I thought that they might, and it has really paid well for them because that's a freshman mistake again, this time with Avery. Just misreading what the cutter's going to do and what she should do with the ball.
Ross, nice up and under, but not enough on it. And now Howell's going to push. The lane floater gets it. Nobody stopping Avery Howell, and she makes the Utes pay. And Gavin Peterson wants the timeout, not liking how this.
And it's kind of genetic, so we're just so proud of him. He's 94. He's still with us, and he just talks so many stories about that. He played for Tippy Dye, who was just like a John Wooden in terms of the coaching legends in that time. Had Bob Hubriggs, who was an All-American, so he counts himself lucky, and I know he was the rabbit that came off the bench that maybe they said don't shoot it, but get us some steals, and so he went about doing that.
I doubt that was the case, but big shout out to Will. So glad he's watching, and we're not sure who he's cheering for today, but we shall see.
Well, the family has the whole, they've got the dogs and they've got the Cougars and the Ducks all in the family, so we've had some times, but we always honor the Huskies and the parents the most.
Yep, no doubt about it. So out of that timeout, Utah not able to get the bucket. A 6-0 run before the timeout called for Washington, and Sellers trying to add to it. Clogged up in the paint. They're not able to get the shot, but another long rebound tipped out.
Loose ball, effort plays, offensive boards. Those are the things they're going to have to change around for Utah to stay close.
Well, and even if they don't score off of it, it's still taking away an opportunity for the Utes.
Exactly. It's a possession. It's another chance for them. I mean, they've just dominated now. Those numbers comparatively are kind of going in the wrong direction for Utah.
You're right about that. The scoring run continues, 8-0 run for the Huskies, but great effort and hustle inside. That was McGoy. I'm impressed with the freshman. She had big accolades coming in. It's a lot of pressure when you kick it up to a Big Ten school. But she's handling it quite well and outrunning. Tegan Brown puts the hand up, says, I'm down here. As she gets fouled and knocked to the floor.
Another turnover to offensive transition. So that is obviously it's the story of the game. At least the defense has been very stellar after they kind of got into the flow of the game, and they have caused a lot of havoc for Utah's offense, and now they're showing that when you can get out, get layups in transition, you can win a lot of games.
The foul call on Ross, that's her third, and it will put Tegan Brown to the free throw line. The first one no good, seen her out of Sacramento. But the 8-0 run, it's really just aggressive, scrappy play by Washington, and now you can really understand when Tina Langley said, look, the defense is so crucial to what we are able to do offensively.
Right, they're really showing that. You can see it in their intensity. Utah really is going to have to find a way to get some looks from the perimeter. They've got the three-point ability, and their scoring in the second half up until now has been greater, so we will see if the intensity that Washington brings on the perimeter is something they can continue. Their ability to switch, even though Utah's used to that.
Defense down, Reese Ross frustrated, some contact, no whistle.
That's a tough one to lose. There's a lot of contact on the arms there, and you've got to go inside against the pressure outside, so you don't want that to be too big of a factor.
And Ross at 6'1", she has good length. She knew she had the smaller defender, but the help D down knocks the ball out of play. So now the Huskies another chance to extend this scoring run. Almost losing it, diving down, saving it. Shot clock to 7. And Harvey, a little too quick-footed there. She gets called for the travel. 7th turnover of the game for the Huskies. We'll take the timeout with 4:50. Let's bring Sammy back in. What'd you find out in the huddle, Sammy?
Yeah, Krista, in the huddle, Coach Peterson said that it all starts with defense. So if you're seeing a trend here, whoever will win this game will be the better defensive team. They have to have that battle in the paint and grab those boards, guys.
Well, you're right, and it's a crucial piece, obviously, to what this team wants to do. Again, another opportunity there as they turn it over. They're giving up chances to chip away at this deficit.
Right, turnovers are killing them.
5 turns in the last 5+ minutes for the Utes. And a scoring drought as well at over 3 minutes. See if Wilkie can get something. There's good help D coming over by Coppinger, but a much needed bucket inside as Reese Ross was hanging out and after the make and then knocked to the floor by Avery Howell. Howell thought this should have been on Reese Ross.
There's the defensive board.
Yeah, it comes after a play after this.
You can see the positioning by Washington defensively. There's that attack penetration that's not happening on the other end for Utah. They're doing 2 things. Each kid's doing 2 things. She's on the backside where she belongs to get out, and she still attacks penetration and gets to the basketball outside the paint to help against the drive. And that's what's not helping. That's not happening at Utah's defensive end.
Our officials going to take a look at this to assess this call. It was called a foul on Howell. So we'll see what they come up with. 4:02 left, 3rd quarter. So just that push at the end. I mean, it was both players kind of going toward one another, but they give the foul to Howell. So Howell was going for the ball to take it out of bounds, and then Reese Ross was trying to turn and run the other direction.
Well, if you have to measure sort of who's displacing or who's taking up space outside their own body, that was Howell with one arm, whatever the reason might have been.
If it remains and stays, it's the first personal on Avery Howell. 3rd team foul for Washington. And if it's Reese Ross, she has 3 personals. Gavin Peterson has left her out on the floor with the 3 fouls. So both coaches gonna get an explanation.
Previous foul has been confirmed. It is a common foul on Washington. It will be black ball underneath.
So no elevation to the foul, just a common foul.
Yep.
And it'll go against Howell. That's a good thing for
that's
Reese
what it
Ross.
should have been. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
I mean, looking from the bench as a coach, and I happen to be Utah's team at that point in time, I like that call.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. Just the first personal on Howell, so it'll stay with the Utes. Otto in the high post. Ross trying to post up. There's Sneed. The drive, but the block by Sellers.
One of the pieces of LA's game that needs to just sort of rise to this level will be her ability at the end of that dribble to not always do the same thing in rhythm. To be able to take a short dribble, come under control, and either jump stop, where she can still pass the ball, go up with a power move, but have some options. And right now, it's a little easier to defend her in penetration because she has just one rhythm, and it's always going to come hard. The ball is going to come off the dribble, and she's going to go up.
Long rebound off the shot from White, and Utah will get a second chance. There's Ross, good read, and the layup good. Wilkie, the patience to wait on her.
Great cut without the ball, great movement without the ball. So tough to coach sometimes to get kids to do that, but when you have players who move without the basketball, you can see the kind of good things that happen.
I feel like Reese Ross has a lot of those little fundamental things that are big things, really, when it comes down to the game.
Well, you go from a dead ball, treble, offensively, to a layup because you have teammates who are moving without the ball.
Yep. Otto in the paint, backing down the D, just a little off on the shot. And Avery Howell gonna bring it up. Takes it right at White, lefty layup, they'll wave it off though. They'll say White had position and Howell was out of control. And she's frustrated on that one.
Well,
there's a lot of problems for teams.
Agreed. I think the one player that stands out is the one who's the difference in the game for Washington, of course, and that is Sellers.
Boy, she's something. She's one of those vets that Tina Langley said, you know, they came back. She said, I've seen growth in every single player since this season has started, but she said the vets in particular really worked on fine-tuning their games, and they put a lot of effort in the offseason. White on the drive, just misses, and now the Huskies will push. Grabovskaya back in, Yulia 55 in purple on the interior, and they'll stop that play. Foul Pryor.
Well, better a foul by LA out on the perimeter than the finish that was going to occur inside, because the only help there is the big. It would have been Evans, and I'm not sure she really was moving to be in position to where she could help.
Utah kind of flipping the script a little bit here as of late. They have forced a scoring drought on the Huskies over 3 minutes. Shot won't go, tipped back in. Here's Maddie Wilkie. Reese Ross running the floor. She and Wilkie have such a great communication and combination together.
Well, they are the two that have the most experience together for sure.
Yeah.
That is a real positive possession for Utah. You can just kind of feel a bit of an enthusiasm. The crowd's kind of getting into it a little bit. They finally got themselves something a little bit easier.
And a 6-0 run for the Utes, yeah, gives this crowd something to cheer about. And they have pulled within a bucket. Shot clock down to 3. Wow, beautiful long stride by Stein. She's been really solid today.
She's really tough when she gets the ball in the paint and picks it up, because that step through is just, she takes up some ground to get to the rim.
Sure does. The length of Steins, they list her at 5'11". She's got 8.6 rebounds as Wilkie loses it there, and now the Huskies out running. Lefty layup good. Steins back-to-back buckets, and they extend the lead back out.
Unfortunate for Utah. They get themselves back in it, and then they just let something easy get away from them.
Well, the fast break opportunities, though, have really accumulated for Washington as the layup won't go for Wilkie. 18-0, the fast break differential, Huskies to Utah.
That's pretty tough to overcome. I know Maddie there seems a little bit fatigued in that shot. The layup that she just had, she's kind of shooting through the ball into the rim instead of up and exploding to the glass. You can kind of see that in fatigue.
Third quarter winding down, and a blatant pass right into the hands of Sneed. She's going to push, but can't make the lefty layup, and the rebound down to the Huskies. Once again, a chance to extend the lead before this third quarter finishes. 4 on the clock. Sellers recognizing, scoops it up, and just misses short. But that will do it. What a...
She loves playing alongside Reese because of how hard she plays, as she is constantly diving on the floor, so that energy will be essential, and that's guaranteed with Reese Ross.
It sure is. I mean, that's one thing. You're never going to see Reese Ross not be scrappy, be aggressive. That's what she takes such pride in that. And how many players do you think, can you count on one hand over your career as a head coach that was their biggest focus?
And you know, she's lanky. She's got a little bit of size to her, and when you have a player like that willing to play and do those things to help a team win, they're that much harder to shoot up, to touch over, to pass over, and they get touches that other people don't quite reach, and she can just disrupt.
Yeah, I think she's definitely a unicorn when it comes to that. Most players are maybe not always thinking, you know, I just want to rebound and be scrappy.
Well, Sellers takes the 3 on that one, and at this point in time, I'd be just telling my kids, maybe, you know, let her take the 3.
Yeah, she's
because we can't handle her.
But the other
on the floor.
I'm with you. I think the other's done the most damage.
Yeah, not to say she can't shoot it, and she could bury you many ways.
Yep.
She's just kind of a pick your poison kind of player.
Foul on Briggs. That is her second. As Howell's going to come back in, McGoy's going to take a seat. I think it's been a nice job by both coaches. They've really gone fairly deep in their benches. I think they've been able to get some good minutes for some of their young players that, you know, to kind of get this experience against this level of play.
It is one of the benefits that you can get from playing all of your early season games, using your kids, because that's going to add. It's going to add on top of itself, and it's going to compile itself towards the end of the season when you're going to need some kids that don't necessarily play all the time, but you're going to need them in some big games.
And Gavin Peterson said, look, we know this 3-game stretch in particular, this Washington team ranked number 25, they're going to head out east to Connecticut, to Uncasville. They're going to take on Syracuse, and UConn. He said, we're going to learn a lot about ourselves in that experience. But, you know, they'll break it down. They'll say, look, these are the areas we've got to get better before we even get into conference play.
Well, they have been competitive. This has been a competitive game. It feels like it could stretch by the end, but you never know. The Utes could also come back and tighten it up again, so we're going to have to see which of those two scenarios plays out. But this is just a really good game for the Utes early on, and I think they will learn a lot, and they will follow it up by a lot more lessons next week.
Sure will. Yeah, this game definitely within reach. It has felt a bit like, as of late, Washington's been in control. But again, the score is just 53-45 right now.
I would agree. It feels like Washington is in control, but Utah has just kind of stayed close enough.
Yeah. See if they can get a stop here.
And they're going to have a run. They're going to have to make some stops. It's the only place it's going to start is if they can stop the scoring. You cannot catch up if you're getting scored on.
So strong is Savia Sellers. A 4-star recruit, number 28 recruit coming in. She's a junior out of Anchorage, Alaska. And her game has just gotten better and better every single season. And there's a takeaway by Howe. Lefty layup good, Avery Howe. Struggled in the first half with her scoring, but she's come on a bit more here in the second. She has 6 points, and I would guess as a head coach and knowing you gotta have some tough competition, but you can't have it to be too tough for a young group.
Well, that's true. You want to be sure that you manage to keep the confidence levels high. But this game, though, it feels like it's getting away. This has been a competitive game for Utah, so I think this in and of itself fits the bill for what they want. Their competition when they go and play UConn, even on a neutral floor, it's still okay for this team because that's going to be a one-off kind of situation, and they're not going to be playing, you know, top 5 the rest of the way.
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be a good learning experience for them, and I think that it's going to take them in a good direction, regardless of what happens.
Out of the timeout, much needed bucket. It was Evans for the Utes, but then the 3 ball, the answer for Washington. They have hit 3 of their last 3 shots.
That is the answer. That is a team that really finds ways to win. They have really upped the defensive intensity, and that has been why we see this drought from Utah as far as first 5 points of the second half. We just saw back-to-back possessions. Washington has just really upped that, and they're showing all facets of the half-court defense that you need to have to be sure that they're going to make everything difficult for the opposing team.
Wilkie the answer with a 3 of her own as Sellers on the drive gets it tipped out of play. It'll stay with the Huskies, 11 on the shot clock.
Well, again, I wish I could see. Let's look at this 3. There's the draw kick, and that's a big part of any 3-point game. And Maddie Wilkie, as I explained, has the best, quickest 3-point shot anywhere.
And White did a nice job in setting that up. A little penetration dribble, and then she draws the D and finds Wilkie. Here's Wilkie on the attack, and she knows she has Evans on the other side, but a whistle and a foul going to go against Washington.
You know, the piece of Utah's defense that they're going to need to improve on as they go is what Washington does so well, and that's attack the penetration, still get rotation for interior passing lanes, and then recover out to cover any in-out game. The attacking penetration piece against Sellers obviously has not been there.
It definitely has not. Almost a miscue there, but Wilkie steps up, grabs it. Utah this quarter only shooting 27% as the shot clock winding down. Wilkie recognizing, gets the shot off, just short.
There's another small lineup. Well, another small lineup for Washington. So Evans is a little bit frustrated inside. She's got the smaller player on her defensively and was working very hard to get the ball. The kids did not see her from the perimeter. And that lineup is now changed. And there's another big in the game.
Lonnie White with the double-double, 10 points, 12 rebounds for White, but she had those 10 points in the first half. They've not been able to get some scoring from her in this half.
Nothing's come easily offensively, second half.
Sellers, Sneed trying to stay right with her, but the vet takes it right at her. She's so strong.
Well, she let her know a little bit there with the body language. And LA that's a nice job one-on-one defensively. She stayed with her. She was between her and the basket. You can play great defense, and players will score, and Sellers will certainly score.
Tina Langley talked about what the vets did. I think Sellers absolutely was in the weight room, no doubt. Oh, and right back at you. You know, Evans had a little, and you can't do that.
Evans, she got caught doing that.
Yep. Cannot look right at the opponent, and even if it happened at the other end and it didn't get
exactly. You know, I think it was a little bit of an equal opportunity there with both ends of the floor, but this is pretty obvious because the defender's on the floor.
Yeah.
And you're usually always going to get caught doing anything like that.
So the technical foul called on Evans, and it'll put Sellers to the line. You know, she's a competitor. I can't say that it wasn't anything I ever did in the game. So, well, that's part of it sometimes.
She was frustrated before that play happened.
Yeah,
right
for sure.
Now, as a, you know, she's a junior, and you would hope that she had a little bit better handle on when that might be happening and kind of tone herself down a little bit. But she's a competitor. You're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things do happen, and she'll learn.
Junior out of Newcastle, Australia. Let's hear a little bit more from Sammy. What do you have?
Well, ladies, it is going to be a fun one to end this because we're going to see that swagger. We're going to see that aggressiveness. We saw Sellers with the yell, the let's go. Of course, Kyra showing that emotion. That's to be expected against two very tough teams with coaches who want it bad.
Yeah, I think it starts from the coaches end, right? I mean, so often you're emulating what your coach and the competitiveness that they expect. I know Gavin Peterson does, we've been in that, and I know Tina Langley. She's kind of soft-spoken at times, but she's such a competitor as well. I mean, at halftime, she told Sammy, defense, that's it, that's all, we got to play defense, and she's a competitor too.
Well, right now, Yulia, and I'm going to use her first name because I do not want to get her last name wrong. But she just, you know, she pulls down 2 offensive rebounds at one end of the floor. She gets the putback. One of the things you have to do against that kind of size is you cannot let them rebound over you that close to the basket. So what has to happen with Otto is she can't get buried and just turn. She has got to create some kind of rebounding space for herself so that the bigger, taller player can't go over the top of her.
Yeah, good point. That's something that the freshman from Latvia is going to have to learn as Wilkie on the drive gets a much-needed bucket for the Utes. UW, though, dominating the offensive boards 12-3. They've started to get some points off of those as well. Utah at least did a pretty good job in holding them down from scoring off of them, but not as much this second half.
I like to see the fight. The Utes are showing fight. They get the turnover, and the game has gotten away.
Yeah.
But both teams are still playing hard, and they're still playing really well, other than just the roughness of an early season game.
Substitution in, that smaller lineup again for the Huskies. It definitely caused some damage to finish off the first half. .320 left in the game. Washington on this road trip will head back home. They've got some tough competition. They've got a Fresno State team going to play Vermont. Eventually they'll go to USC. They'll kick off in December a Big Ten play. That's something the Big Ten's been doing, where you see somebody early. That can go one of 2 ways for you sometimes. But they're going to get to see USC in early December. And I think the Big Ten is going to be super competitive, really tough this season. Shot clock is winding down. That one won't go for Sellers, and the rebound down to Otto.
I'm going to say one more time how important the outcome of this game has been because of the defensive team concepts and the execution that I've seen from the Huskies and their ability to defend the ball from all positions. So Utah thinks somebody has a seal in a lob, and it's just not there because there's a backside defender that is in position and doesn't have to fly in late. There's drives, and there is a second defensive player there to attack the penetration outside the paint and still get the rotation. They are a fine defensive team.
Boy, that was a beautiful cut without the ball. Devin Coppinger with the bucket. So if you're Gavin Peterson and you're going to break this game down afterwards, what are you going to see? What are you going to see about your team, especially on the defensive end?
Well, I'm going to use the clips that I've seen from Washington to help teach my team the differences in their positioning and where they need to be at all times. There's, you know, Washington is great with airtime, which means every time the ball changes position in the air, all 5 defenders are moving, not just the one who passed it, and not just the one on the kid that's catching it. And you have to use airtime to get to new, and you have to be willing to attack penetration, knowing that you can.
NIT knocking off Ole Miss to get that one. And her team right now, paint points, fast break points, all those kind of connected together. So much of what they've done has been right there. And another.
Well, that's the example. I mean, she took a drive from about, what, you know, 30 feet out, and nobody challenged her at the rim,
right,
or anywhere in the paint. So they're young, and they will learn, and they will see how it's done, and they will get better at it. Because a lot of times I'm looking at, you know, sometimes it might be Jomstead that needed to be her rotation or her help, and she's just young. There are not as many seasoned players on the floor defensively for Utah as what you are seeing from the Huskies.
No, you're right. Good point. As Howell gets knocked to the court, just under a minute left in the game. And it was really very close for quite some time, and then finally Washington again extending it out to the double-digit lead.
I think that third quarter start was pretty deadly.
Yeah, that was a tough one. They only were able to accumulate 9 points, the Utes were, in that one, compared to 15 by Washington.
Gavin is using the Brook and LA together a little bit here, so.
Okay, the over-the-head reverse layup there.
Yeah, you got, okay.
Hannah
right.
Steins.
Okay.
She's got 14 points.
You
Love
know,
the senior.
She does that in the driveway. It doesn't matter whether she practices it in practice or not.
Listen, my coach always told me, if you're going to do it in practice or in your driveway, then that's the only way I want to see it in a ball game. So, as Lonnie White, it's knocked to the floor. Excuse me, that's Snead.
That's LA.
Down, yeah.
That's LA.
Oh, she hit her head. Wasn't able to break her fall. And boy, she's feeling it. And Gavin Peterson wanting an explanation.
Here's the thing, I love LA just goes. She takes Sellers and she goes. And in the end, you know, Sellers gets her hand on the ball and she wins that at the end. But LA did not back away from that.
Yeah.
She has not stopped trying to get to the rim. So those are things that are gonna really reap benefits as the season goes along.
Another whistle and a foul. 16.6 left. Again, both teams, this is the time of year. You're going to figure things out. You're figuring out what you have. And you know, if you're Washington, you're not 100% healthy. You're missing a very big piece in senior Ella Dean. They are definitely hopeful to get her back sooner than later. But it's giving opportunities to other players.
It's been a good game.
Yeah.
I think both teams will take a lot away from this. I think Utah will need more lessons for their progress because of where they find themselves as far as being the younger team, being the less experienced team. They've got a good future this year. This is not something that we're worried about. Somehow that rebuild means they're starting over.
Yeah.
They just are going to be looking to get in the NCAA tournament instead of trying to decide what their play is going to do for them as far as a seed in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.